Let me read a life of struggle, service, and leadership, and the legacy of Comrade David Dabete Didi Mabuza. Former Deputy President David Dabete Mabuza, affectionately known as Didi, was born on the 25th of August 1960 in Brondal, around White River in the former Eastern Transvaal, now Mpumalanga. To the late Mr. Qechwayo Makweba Mabuza and Miss Anna Topi Mabuza Bokolangambule. He was the sixth of the 12 siblings, comprising 4 boys and 8 girls. Mr. Mabuza began his primary education at Malilwane School, then proceeded to Paula Trust, and then later to Mshaza Junior Secondary School, where he completed his Standard 8, now Grade 10. In 1980, he completed his matric at Kumbula High School and subsequently joined Beguswago High School in 1981 as a private teacher. It was here that he came across the late Mr. Sandile Sugati, a graduate of the University of Witwatersrand, WITS, a strategist and an astute socio-political analyst and political mentor who introduced him to underground activism. Together with other teachers, they formed an early liberation struggle cell comprising comradeship and political focus that will steadfastly develop over the ensuing years into a consuming fire of massive activism. This formative period ignited an insatiable appetite for the pursuit of education as a means towards social change. In 1982, he enrolled at Mgwenya College, the then Mgwenya College. It was during this time at the college that an exponential surge in his political commitment deepened sharply. He met a lecturer, the late Mr. Sipho Sugati, the brother to the late Sandile Sugati, whom he had met at Beguswayo High School. By then, Mr. Sugati was already a graduate from Teflop University, now University of Limpopo, which was known as a training ground for political activism. At Mgwenya College, Mabuza and the Sugati brothers helped form a powerful underground student cell that fostered political awareness and resistance. They interfaced with national structures and tertiary institutions, particularly Wits University, where they received political education, mentorship, and politically oriented reading material. In 1983, Mr. Mabuza was elected secretary of an underground Azanian student organization, Azaso branch, which was the main student movement at the time, under the guidance of the late Mr. Begim Langeni and the late Mr. Sandile Sugati. That same year, at Mgwenya College hosted the Azaso national president at a significant gathering in Kanyamazan, which also included expelled student activists from Ongoye University, now the University of Zululand. The college had by then become a hotbed of progressive thinking, incorporating students, college students, as well as structures outside the institution aligned with the UDF, the United Democratic Front. During Mr. Mabuza's final year of study, national attention had turned to Mgwenya College's political developments to an extent that Reverend Alan Busak visited Valencia Park in Nelspruit to address the growing youth-led activism in the region. This broad mobilization marked a turning point in the political landscape of the Lowveld. Former Deputy President Mabuza was elected to the Student Representative Council, SRC, and led student protests that escalated into direct action, resulting in his temporary expulsion which was overturned due to overwhelming support, student support through protest and class boycotts. Upon graduating with a secondary teacher's diploma majoring in mathematics and science, Mr. Mabuza returned to Bekswayo Secondary School, where he taught and headed the mathematics and physical science department. He did not only focus on the school syllabus, but extensively crafted and synchronized it with clandestine political education inside and outside of the classroom. He came in at a time when the political landscape was volatile and preparing for the 10th anniversary of the 1976 student uprising. He was therefore highly instrumental in instilling the consciousness to carry out the 1976 strategic intonation of rendering the country ungovernable. He carried out this task diligently for the learners, the teachers, and adjoining school communities, overseeing the establishment of SRCs and UDF-inspired community structures, as well as educating them. The year 1986 was around the corner, and there was so much ground to be covered, inevitably beckоning a multi-pronged approach to the mammoth task that lay ahead. Fortunately, the shenanigans of the government of that time under P.W. Botha had already created a fertile ground for organizing a society already agitated and ready for war against the regime. Together with comrades Sipho and Sandile Sugati and fellow students A.A. Banda, Martin Mkhunu, Mr. Mabuza co-founded the Lowveld Advice Office in 1986, a vital grassroots resource center for communities seeking legal and political support. The vision was clear: to empower the people with tools for liberation grounded in knowledge and solidarity. As a progressive mathematics and science high school teacher from 1984 to 1985 to 1994, he proved to be a dynamic repository of multidimensional political activism, transversing between his classroom responsibilities, conscientization of the masses, and organizing students and youth, not only in the Lowveld, but across the entire Eastern Transvaal region. He was instrumental in the formation of the student and youth structures, which stirred the historic 1986 protest in the Hazyview area and the National Education Crisis Committee, known as NEC. In 1987, he was elected to the first Hazyview branch of the National Education Union of South Africa, under the leadership of Mr. Sugati, and became its chairperson in 1988. In this role, after leading the 1986 Freedom Now, Education Later campaigns, he helped spearhead the Back to School, Back to Class campaign that repositioned education as a revolutionary tool. That same year, Mr. Mabuza was assigned to transport Umkhonto weSizwe guerrillas to Phalaborwa, underscoring his trusted role in underground operations. In 1989, he was elected treasurer of the Foundation of Education with Production and coordinated the influential Each One Teach One Matric Improvement Program in Hazyview, reaffirming his beliefs in educational upliftment as part of the liberation struggle. In the midst of his busy life of activism, former Deputy President Mabuza enrolled for a bachelor's degree majoring in psychology and criminology at the University of South Africa. In keeping with his vision, love, enthusiasm, and belief that education was a superior pillar that empowered people with tools for liberation, knowledge, and solidarity, by 1990, he was coordinating NEC in the Eastern Transvaal, culminating in the regional conference that elected Comrade Joe Makhubedu as the first regional secretary. In 1990 and 1992, he helped form the South African Democratic Teachers Union alongside a core of progressive educators, with Mr. Sandile Sugati elected as his inaugural regional chairperson in 1992. Mr. Mabuza rose through the ranks of the liberation struggle. He was elected and served as the African National Congress Nelspruit regional chairperson for 3 consecutive terms before being elected into the ANC Provincial Executive Committee. He served as deputy chairperson of the PEC for several terms, an indication that he was naturally not only power-hungry cadre of the liberation movement. It will usually take quite some persuasion for him to take up a leadership role in any structure. However, when he did, he would apply himself selflessly in the execution of his duties. In 2007, he was elected to the ANC National Executive Committee at the Watershed Polokwane Conference. In 2008, Mr. Mabuza was elected and served as ANC Provincial Chairperson and became the 4th Premier of Mpumalanga in 2009, where he served the people of the province with honor, dedication, and diligence. It was in 2017 that he was elected Deputy President of the ANC, paving the way for him to be in the presidency at Luthuli House and the Union Buildings. His life in post-apartheid South Africa was characterized by his commitment to serve the nation at various levels of government. His transition into this new role was seamless, as he remained committed to serving the people in various government structures. His appointment in 1994 as the first member of the Executive Council for Education in Mpumalanga became a landmark transition into government, serving under the former Premier Matthews Posa's administration. He was thereafter deployed to the National Parliament of the Republic of South Africa between 2001 and 2004. He later served as MEC for Housing, the then MEC for Roads and Transport, and then MEC for Agriculture, serving under the Premier Ndaweni Mahlangu and Premier Thabang Makwetla, respectively. And in the process, amassed vast experience in government operations at national and provincial levels. His tenure as Premier of Mpumalanga from 2009 to 2019 was historic, as he became the first Premier to serve 2 terms in the province. After serving Mpumalanga with distinction, Mr. Mabuza served as Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa from 2018 to 2023 and was entrusted with the following responsibilities by the current President, His Excellency President Ramaphosa. He was the leader of government business in Parliament, leading government efforts to fast-track land reform and coordination of government programs, coordinating anti-poverty initiatives through public employment programs, integrated service delivery, and enterprise development. He also was responsible for leading the South African National AIDS Council and the country's integrated response to the challenges of HIV and AIDS, leading the National Human Resources Development Council, fostering collaboration between government and social partners towards addressing skills shortage in the critical sectors of our economy, and promoting social cohesion initiatives, among them the Moral Regeneration Movement, the Interministerial Committee on Water and Sanitation, the Presidential Task Team on Military Veterans, and the IMC on COVID vaccines, and the Interministerial Task Team in response to matters raised by traditional leaders. His dedication, commitment, and humility were weaved into the leadership responsibilities until he resigned from government in 2023. Mr. Mabuza's international experience was cemented when President Ramaphosa appointed him a special envoy to various countries to forge relations and exchange programs with South Africa on and amongst agriculture, infrastructure, health, education, and tourism. He participated in diplomatic missions in countries such as South Sudan, where he played a significant role in facilitating the peace process, engaging in subtle diplomacy to mediate dialogue among parties in order to revitalize agreements aimed at conflict resolutions. His efforts under the Intergovernmental Authority on Development contributed to the formation of the revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity. He was appointed a special envoy to strengthen trade ties between South Africa and the Russian Federation. Comrade Mabuza established the Didi Mabuza Foundation in 2014, focusing and galvanizing resources to address educational needs and enhance social upliftment programs of vulnerable groups such as children, child-headed households, and the elderly and persons with disabilities. Among the milestones achievements of the foundation was the construction of 15 housing units in the Umchindi area in 2018. In its community upliftment program, the foundation engaged in philanthropy to improve the socio-economic conditions of the most vulnerable. Mr. Mabuza met his untimely death on the 3rd of July, 2025. This marked the end of a monumental journey, a life of discipline, sacrifice, and unwavering service to the people of South Africa. He will be remembered as a resolute leader, dedicated public servant, and a pillar of strength to his family and comrades. His contribution to South Africa's political and social transformation will continue to inspire us all. He is survived by his wife, children, sisters, brothers, comrades, and generation of learners, teachers, activists whom he inspired. His passing leaves a profound void, but his spirit continues to guide the struggle for justice, dignity, and equality in South Africa. Hamba kahle Msheng, hamba kahle Mshabalala, Dwonga mavuso, sidwaba lesilithuli, ngamavuso kuvalwa ngemvalo, kuvulwa ngetinhloko temadvodza. I thank you.